I'm present for that decision to set the funeral time and date for Saturday, 10 a.m. local, 4 p.m. Eastern. Starting tomorrow morning, the Pope will lay in state at St. Peter's Basilica for the faithful to pay their respects and to say goodbye until Saturday's service.
President Trump will attend Francis's funeral. He died Monday at 88 years old. Wall Street erasing much of Monday's sell-off on trade optimism. Fox's Hillary Barsky.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said today that he expects U.S. and China to begin de-escalating their trade hostilities in the very near future, according to Barron's.
The Dow adding 1,017 points, the Nasdaq gaining 430, the S&P jumping 130. America's listening to Fox News.
Your 710 KURV AccuWeather forecast. It'll be humid this evening, mostly cloudy skies, followed by late night low clouds, a low of 74. East-southeast winds at 8 to 16 miles per hour. Breezy tomorrow with considerable morning cloudiness, then intervals of clouds and sun for the afternoon at a high of 89. Tomorrow night, humid, low clouds, low 74. Breezy Thursday. We'll see intervals of clouds and sunshine. Expect a high Thursday of 90. I'm AccuWeather's Drew Shannon on the Valley's official weather station, 710 KURV.
This is your news, weather, and talk station. News Talk 710, KURV, and KURV.com.
News Talk 710, KURV.
Zach Cantu and the living legend Davis Rankin, your 956 drive home on 710 KURV, your home for Houston Astros baseball, up against the Toronto Blue Jays tonight at 7. They're visiting. The Blue Jays visiting Houston, your home for Astros baseball, made possible by Dr. T's Primary Care for Men and Women and Mission Economic Development Corporation. Let's get a check of the economy, quick oil and gas update with Tim Snyder from Matador Economics. Get the newsletter at matadoreconomics.com. So who's up, who's down right now, Tim?
Today was a good day. We were mostly up today, guys. It's finally a good feeling to be able to look and see a little green on the screen.
Happy to hear that. How's oil and gas doing right now?
We on the crude oil, from a crude oil standpoint, we closed up a little bit over $1 a barrel. We're still in the low 60s. We probably going to close in the 63 and a half or higher range, $63 and about, maybe 55, 60 cents a barrel. Gasoline was up a little bit today. So was diesel fuel. Even that gas was up just a little bit. And it was all of it, guys, was on, the hopes that they're getting close to a back channel deal on tariffs with China, believe it or not.
Ooh, I saw that the Dow got spooked that Donald Trump was talking about getting rid of Jerome Powell. Now, there's a long history of the Golden Command. I know there's a long history of the Golden Commander not liking the guy running the Fed. So this should not be news for anybody, in my opinion. So why does the Dow get spooked so much?
Well, I think it was just the fact that it was just that one extra little feather that you put on the pile that's just a feather too much. And the difference was you got Jerome Powell that's kind of back talking himself a little bit into this thing. And the issue, you've got the most dangerous two people to have a disagreement in the United States is the president and the chairman of the U.S. Federal Reserve, because both of those words mean things. And markets interpret that, as instability. And that's the reason why we had trouble yesterday. Primary reason we had trouble yesterday. Today, that kind of subdued just a little bit and was taken over by the Chinese news. And the fact that we've got, I think we were close to a deal with 7 other nations. And then I think they've got like 35 more anticipated to try to come into the U.S. and start negotiating on their trade deal. So that all helped the overall condition. It's not going to help Jerome Powell because President Trump is still going to call him a name and tell him he's stupid. So there you go.
I'd be more surprised. I'd be more wary if Trump wasn't talking about the Fed, in my opinion. Tim Snyder from Matador Economics joining us on 710 KURV. David, do your question about the economy. Go ahead.
Can you explain what the tariff fight has to do with the with the oil and gas industry, them drilling for new product rather than just pumping the old stuff? How does it affect them?
Davis, what we're looking at right now is balance, market share, and those kinds of things. And if we can balance our trade scenario, that helps the markets and helps stability here in the United States. When there's instability in the market, you see the debt side of our markets have a tendency to rise. It devalues the U.S. dollar, and then all of a sudden we throw trade into a big mess again. So we need that stability to kind of get things moving in a direction that is productive. And I will tell you, it's not just the United States that's battling with other countries trying to find that equilibrium point for our international trade, but you've got OPEC and OPEC Plus now, because Russia is the plus member of OPEC. They're kind of biting at each other's heels, going after the same market share. So it's still kind of rocky in the energy sector.
What price does oil have to be at before they will drill for looking for new oil?
Okay, first of all, who's they? Are you talking about OPEC or us?
Us, I'm sorry.
Okay, from our standpoint, I mean, we're doing it right now. We're continuing. We're nearly at the record production levels that, we're at about 13 points. Let me see. I'll tell you exactly where we are. Tomorrow we'll have the inventory numbers, but right now we're producing 13.462 million barrels of crude oil per day here in the United States. That 13.565, I think, is the record. So if you look at that, we're right at the record of production. Okay. So we're still pulling more crude oil. We're still very efficient, even in improving efficiencies. So I think to start that drill baby drill scenario that President Trump talked about, and I think what you're pointing at here, it's going to require a continuation of removing some of these bad government
regulations,
and that kind of stuff to try to slow things down a little bit. That would be number one. And then number two, we've got to have some assurance via federal law, not maybe dictate by a president, but a true federal law that says you can't go after a segment of the economy to try to replace it with another segment. So you can't remove fossil fuels to replace it with renewables, because it kills both of them.
Okay.
Tim Snyder from Matador Economics joining us on 710 KURV. So back in the day during the Biden administration, they really tamped down on a lot of new drilling. And I think we had this discussion a while back that it's not just flipping a switch in order to get the drills pumping, the drills drilling and the pumps pumping again.
No,
that's very true. And if you look at the Baker Hughes rig count, it's funny. I did just a quick check of that I think last week. But one of the things that we look at is we're still basically, if not stagnant, maybe losing a couple of rigs. We're not replacing the rigs that are going out of service as readily as we would be. I can look back all the way to, golly, I'm looking my book here. I can look all the way back to, let's see, May of 2024. And, that's almost a year ago. And we had total rigs were at 604. Today we're at 585 total rigs. Crude oil rigs are down about 15. Natural gas rigs are down 7 or 8. So and the offshore rigs are down from 20 to like 13. So, the fact of the matter is we've got to get drilling back to where we can produce like we need to produce to bring the break-even point, and that's at about $64 a barrel. We got to bring that break-even price down a little bit more so that we can feel that throughout the entire economy.
Okay. Yeah, I hear you, and hopefully we can get that done as fast as possible.
Yes,
hey, Tim, thanks a lot for joining us today.
Tim.
I appreciate it, really do. That's Tim Snyder at Matador Economics. Get the newsletter at matadoreconomics.com. You're listening to News Talk 710 KURV.
Ryan Kilmeade here, inviting you to tune in weekday mornings starting at 9 for the Sergio Show with Sergio Sanchez.
Listen to Sergio Sanchez every morning on News Talk 710 KURV and on the Radio Parami app. Stay informed with exclusive interviews from top local and state leaders, plus economic development news, business, and medical reports, and all the local news from the RGV. It's everything you need to know to start your day right. Sergio Sanchez and News Talk 710 KURV on the free Radio